I would like to procure the bag.
I wanna be a rich bitch. Penthouse doorman, money, 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 rich bitch. Hey, give me that bag. Rich bitch. You're so rich.
Pay me.
Just a bunch of dildos.
Just a
Use
bunch
it
of
and what's it
It's galore.
galore.
You want a
You
dildo
want-
in the box? I've got 20.
I got 20. I've got flashlights for special nights.
Oh my god.
But
I'm
I
a
want
whore.
more. Yeah, I'm a whore.
All of
Dude,
it.
we
No,
should totally do. Oh my god.
This is quite the start out for our season
It
one
could be
closer,
part of your vibe.
y'all. It's part of the
Season
vibe.
one closer.
Season one closer, you guys. We weren't sure if we were gonna do a season one break to season two, but we
Right.
had a hell of a year and we're both kind of
Ugh.
fried and we need a minute. So
Mm.
we're gonna this is gonna be our closing grand finale of our I Want to Be a Rich Bitch season one, and then we are going to be kicking off in February for season two, which we're super excited about. We have a lot of
Psyched.
really cool things going to come at you for the new year for 2024.
Mhm.
One of which will maybe be an in-person situation for our New York and tri-state area babies.
Yes, baby. Yes, baby.
We're
Yes.
so excited. We just literally had a meeting right before this about all of the things, and we're jazzed.
was that a meeting or was that more of a therapy session? But yes,
it was
that was a meeting.
It was like, listen, with us, it's always both.
It's always both. Yes.
It's a meeting,
Same
it's
parts,
therapy,
yeah.
it's like,
Yep.
you know, it's all the things. But
Mhm.
I love it. It's been
Yeah.
quite a week even for the both of us. So let's
Mm.
break it down, Sarah. How have you been a rich bitch?
How have I been a rich bitch? Well, I have, without getting too specific, have openly declared my worth. And when something that I feel was supposed to happen did not, I'm not staying in the room for I'm not going to be in a club that doesn't want me, or I'm not going to be anywhere that I'm not truly valued for who I am and what I have to offer. And that's something that can translate to all our lives. You know, you shouldn't be with people and friends that don't value you for who you are. You shouldn't be with colleagues or in situations, professional, where you're not valued. And, you know, even though I find that I already live that thing, every so often you'll find yourself in a situation where like, ooh,
Ooh.
okay, it's not exactly what I thought was going down. So I think
Yeah.
I'm going to just chill.
Well,
You know, I
I
think
think
that's
that's
very rich bitch behavior.
100%. And I also think it's something that people who are in creative fields tend to do anyway, because there's that holdout and that promise of like, if you do this work, you will get the thing. Whether that's like, if you, work it enough, do enough regional and you get enough press and you do nothing, you'll book Broadway. If you get in the room with the right people, you'll, book Broadway. If you like, or the TV show or whatever the thing is, it's always like this dangling carrot. And it's one of the reasons why I've tried to get so far away from it, because I don't like the dangling carrot feeling. It doesn't feel good.
No,
And
I don't do that.
you don't need the dangling carrot to make good work. You can do that on your own with people that you love, know, and trust. So like maybe that's it.
Facts. And something I've always learned too, and this is I've always believed in myself, which is, and I know who I am. And even with that sometimes makes people feel weird, or like you're somehow commenting on how they feel about themselves, when in reality, I'm just doing me. But something that I've always felt too is that there's always that period where maybe you didn't get an opportunity, or maybe you knew you were the right thing for the right job, or whatever, and that wasn't seen. There's almost always like months later where people are like, oops, oh, we fucked up. And that's going to happen. For a fact, it's going to happen. But I don't enjoy that.
No,
You know,
it's not a good feeling. And I feel like,
no.
again, creatives tend to subject themselves to that a lot. And it's
Yeah.
good to be aware of it. It's good to be conscious of when it's happening. And it's good to take steps towards not tolerating it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, like if you're doing your best, do everything you can. Don't worry with those bitter hearts or whatever that fucking lyric is. Just don't worry about it. Just do you. Be incredible. And don't settle for anything less than main character energy. I'm not here for that. I'm not
Yeah.
a substitute. I'm Sarah motherfucking Seeds. So
Yeah,
that's
she
that.
is. That's
Mhm.
that.
How are you being a rich bitch?
How am I being a rich bitch? the last couple weeks, obviously we've talked about my new job and all the things and how
Yes.
the money's coming in and all that. It doesn't feel like it because I'm playing catch up of like months of not being able to like fully cover
Yeah.
all of the bills. So like that's a
But
whole
you're catching
thing.
up.
But I'm catching up,
That's
which is feeling quite good. And it is also that kind of in tandem with um the year coming to an end and having a very breakneck roller coaster kind of year. Yeah. And just taking a look at that and allowing myself to feel how I feel about it, and also in turn be very proud of myself. I had someone tell me in my DMs the other day on Instagram, like, this has been such a banner year for you. And I was like, has it? Because Jesus, I feel like I've been run over twice. But there are parts of it that absolutely that is true. Um, and I think that there's a podcast I was on called Are You Happy? And they do this kind of man on the street thing where they walk up to people and they ask them, Are you happy? And if I remember correctly, my answer to this question on the podcast was, I don't actually believe in happiness in the way that we commercially consume happiness. Because, and
yeah.
I'll use this year as an example to tie into what we're talking about. I had so many great things happen
Oh yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
I did myself or other people helped me do that elevated me and my book, Cancer, Musical Theater, and Other Chronic Illnesses. Please go buy a copy. And
Pick it up today. Barnes and Noble and also the Drama Bookshop in New
on
York
West
City.
39th Street. Yeah. But all of those things were wonderful and I loved them. And
Yeah.
I really, really purposefully tried to take in that moment and like be present for that moment so that I could appreciate it and whatnot. And then there were other things that happened that were not so great. And so the concept in my mind that we commercially consume happiness as is that you have to be happy and ecstatic all the time. And I just don't believe in that because we
No.
change hour to hour, minute to minute. And I could be happy 1 minute and then something could come along and might change that. And to a point, yes, of course, you're in charge of your own feelings and how you react to things, fine. But like sometimes you just can't help but feel a way that is not happiness about something that is going on around you, environmentally or otherwise.
And
And
you're allowed
so,
because I feel like just blanket happiness is very surface too. You know, like if you're just like, I'm
completely,
just happy and like, okay, but
right.
what
And it
else?
kind of
Like,
ties into that like toxic positivity moment, like, and that's kind
yeah,
of
it's
not,
not sustainable. It's
it's
not
not
nourishing.
sustainable.
You need,
It'll burn the fuck out of you. So anyway, all of that to say that I am taking a look at the year in hindsight and trying to really granularly appreciate the things that were good and that I am really proud of and that have moved the needle forward for me, and trying to be fully at peace with the things that were not. And that is my current rich bitch activity of like
mm,
just filtering in the good and filtering out, not even filtering out, but just kind of like neutralizing the not good, or
right.
the
It feels
or
like
the
you're just not being driven by fear, or anything that happened,
and I
right?
try not to
Just
be
driven by
ever.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tried to not ever be driven by fear, but this year
Feels the
has
worst.
been
Yeah.
a whole lot of ups and downs in like very, very high ups in a very down period of time and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so that's my rich bitch behavior, is just kind of appreciating what has happened this year and where I have landed now. And I'm not
That's
mad
great.
about it. And it genuinely
No.
makes me excited for 2024 and the things to come.
I think that years like this, and I think that's a great, wonderful way to be a rich bitch because all we can do is take what has happened, ingest that, and let it either take us down or let us learn or become stronger, more resilient bad bitches that we are. And I know for me, like
And
it's
we are
years like this,
bad bitches.
such bad
So
bitches. Well,
bad.
that's actually what I said the other day after this interesting weekend I had was I literally walked in the door and I said, I just hate it when people just don't want a bad bitch to succeed. And Mike was like, this is why I wanted to marry you.
Yeah,
Anyway,
there we go.
yeah, so but yeah, so no, I agree. I totally agree. It is so important to accept reality and take it in, but also know that some of these awful things that we went through this year kind of make you go like, wait, did I have a great year? And then you look at all the good things that happened. You're like, oh my God, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, appearance wise for sure. And also like, yeah, I had a lot of wins. And so did you this year through hard, difficult things. And those are the kind of ones, these are the kind of years where you're going to remember and be like, that was a year I grew, or it was about to really pop off, or I am growing.
Yeah.
It just was like a step in the
Or
growth direction.
the year that I almost lost my shit. Like,
Yeah, because don't you? Well, that's why I always feel like movies and films, and I love a good writer will always write a film where, if it's a drama or anything really, or a TV series, where there's the darkness just before the dawn, right?
Of course.
There's always that like moment where you're like, this could literally go any direction. I could literally lose it right now, but then you don't. You
But
get
then you
past.
don't. You get past.
But then you fucking don't.
So as an exercise for our listeners, let's recap our year.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about like the bad shit. Let's acknowledge and move on, but
Okay.
let's talk about like chronologically speaking for us, what was like a really amazing thing that happened to you this year that stands out as like the shining moment in your year that you want to take with you into 2024.
Cool. I mean, off the bat, I got signed by some agents, another agent, because I'm assembling my team, y'all. She got a lit person, she got a manager, all this stuff, but commercial, but like signing with another legit person on another coast happened right before the end of the year. So it wasn't until the start of the year where I really started to reap those benefits and getting these opportunities and feeling like, I love having female, and I love male too, but I love having female reps that get me. Maybe we have the same kind of vibe, because I just noticed that I'm going out for really exciting things and like learning so much. So I kind of started my year off like, I was like, I just want to give, I keep saying this, but that main character energy, my goal is not to be, who is that? Blah, blah, blah. It's Sarah motherfucking Seeds. And I want to make sure that I am becoming that. Am I publicly as well as like as a person? So like my kickoff thing was like all the auditions and the dope things that happened in the beginning and the opportunities. Really, that's what I love, is the opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine didn't happen until later in the year. And it's
Mhm.
not to say that there weren't things that I was very proud of in the beginning of the year. I had a lot of podcast interviews. There was 1 week that I did like 12 in a week. It was nuts. Like I was going hard on those.
Yeah.
And I love doing them. And I just got a DM about another one like right before we were assembling for this. And so I'm very happy with that. But my shining star for this year was the billboard. It was the Times Square billboard.
Yeah. Oh, well,
That
I could give you a
was
shining star, but yeah, that's
Oh yeah. I mean,
incredible.
that's the thing I want to carry with me into next year, and just take a moment on the regular to recognize that that's the thing that I did and it happened. And there's photographic evidence.
it was a
anytime
bop.
it was a bop. And every time that I feel a little self-doubt or a little like, what are you doing? I get to look at that and be like, fuck yeah, you did that.
You're 100% right. No, that was huge. That was huge.
It literally was. It was 3 stories.
She was big. Yeah.
It was 33
Size
feet,
queens.
33 feet of my
Mhm.
face, looming,
We love that.
looming over Times Square, right on the side of the Equity Building, which I thought was also a huge LOL.
Here's Edward.
It's
Yeah.
Johnny.
Here's Johnny.
But yeah, I mean, that
That's cool.
was my big one.
That's great.
Give me another one. Let's have it.
Yeah, I have a bunch. Okay, so in March, so I'm trying to start from the beginning. In March, I produced and shot an entire TV pilot. Entire
Yeah,
fucking
you
thing.
did. I can't believe that was
So,
all the way back in March. That feels like that just
it was in
happened.
March. Yeah, I know,
That's
right?
crazy.
Well, tell me about it. And also we really got far in post-production for another film that I wrote and produced and star in. So those are things that are going to be done very soon. And I feel like, yeah, creating really good stuff that could be picked up any minute. It could be, it's just wild that it's all physically done. It's like physically a thing. We just got our final cut for the diner pilot, and we're pretty much picture locked for Bathe in the Night. And now it's just like getting the other pieces, like this sound and certain things judged, and then it's kind of ready to go, which is wild. So that's like shooting stuff and really from the ground up is a huge task, but it's so rewarding. So that's my next one.
I love it.
So
Okay, my next one is probably so when I it's all of this is going to have to do with my book for the most part.
that's great.
And
No, it should, because a
it
book
was
is
a
a
huge
process.
it was a process, and I'm so proud of it this time around. For listeners who are not aware, I actually wrote this book in 2016 into 2017, and I self-published it on Amazon. And I was so embarrassed about it because some people let me know that there were editing mistakes and things within the manuscript. And like, of course there were. I couldn't afford a copy editor, and I couldn't, like, I had friends do it, and I went through and we had this whole day where I like made charcuterie boards and I gave them alcohol, and they all sat in my apartment and went through different sections of the book and did edits. And then I went through each copy that I had printed out for them, and I manually changed all the things. And when I sent it off to the printers, the changes didn't all get saved for some reason. And so I had all these physical copies of books that had fuck ups in it. And it really felt bad. So I hid that book for a really long time after like the publishing of it all and like the Amazon of it all, which was a frustrating process. I hid it.
Tell me.
I just kind of like buried it and didn't want to do anything with it. And so it was this past year that getting that book into the drama bookshop, where it was rejected last time. I like tried to get it in 2017 and they told me no. And so this time around, having it go in there and having it be up front on the front table.
Oh,
with all
it
the
is up
other
front,
It was
gal.
up front, baby. And so like that
Baby.
to me, that and the billboard, we did those kind of in tandem on the same day as like an event or whatever. But like those two things are like my feel good moments for this year.
That's fantastic. No, that's a huge, and also like I like that you are mentioning that getting there wasn't like, okay. It
Yeah,
was
it
like,
wasn't just
no.
like I sent an email. It was like,
Feelings of shame, or like I can't, it's not ready, or like I
yeah,
feel somewhat not like maybe it's not ready. The thing is like you decided, you looked in the mirror and you said, nah, it's ready. Let's do
yeah.
it.
Well, and
And you
also
had to decide that.
I was in a different financial situation where I could afford to have someone go
True.
through it in an official
Publicist. Yeah.
capacity, and then
Editor,
also
rather.
hire
Yeah.
the editor and hire a publicist, which has been
Yeah.
an eye-opening experience in a lot of ways. And that was, I will continue and always pat myself on the back for the drama bookshop moment and the Times Square billboard moment. So that was my pride this year. That was my pride
Love
weekend.
that. Oh my God. Pride was amazing. Okay. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Literally. My next thing I really loved was that, on the SAG-AFTRA official YouTube, they propped me up and had a whole talk that I did about pitch decks. And it was called The Pitch is
pitch
Back.
is back. We love.
And it was, dude, I had thousands of people in my DMs sending me like, wow, this really made me. My favorite part about it was not that I got a bunch of clients, because that was cool too. But the point of it was actually to make people like, because I wasn't having trouble getting clients really, but it was more like I just wanted people that are like, have a great idea, make it. Make a pitch deck, at least get it out. And you'd experience that yourself, making your first pitch deck, which is a big thing for you, which I think you should talk about. But making your
It
first
was
pitch
my
deck,
next
doesn't
one.
that, isn't it? Okay, great. Well, good. It's seamless. I knew that. But it's like that whole experience of doing that. I want people to experience that because it really makes your idea come alive. You really start thinking of it in a very tangible way, in a very real way. And not only does it make it like in your mind something that's possible, but it's like organizing it in such a way that you get to learn as you're doing it. Storytelling, I think it's so important. So that's why I did it, because really a lot of the DMs too were just like, wow, I learned so much, thank you for doing this, it really helped me. And like there's a lot of people, especially like queer folks or people of color or people whose stories like haven't been heard enough, because as we know, there's sometimes a lack in content, not just because of the strike, which I'll get to in a little bit, but it's like, it's just such a whitewash slash, if there is something that is different, then everyone just copies it. So it feels like we're not hearing all these stories that really are interesting and quirky and fascinating, or just something different. And the best way to do that is to teach people how to do it. So that's why I wanted to do that. So that really was amazing to be propped up by my union and have a whole talk dedicated to me talking about decks.
And about decks.
Big old decks.
But we love a big deck.
And it's called The Pitch is Back, and it's on YouTube on their official SAG-AFTRA channel. Thank you.
Yes. And that is the perfect transition into my next one, which is the pitch deck for my book.
Oh, yes.
That we're adapting for a series, and that whole process was so fascinating because like you saw the original and how every page was
Oh, yeah.
basically the same, and I tried to make it very
Yep.
organized and pretty in that way, and then we just kind of went in there and fucked it up. And like listener, Sarah is the queen at this. Like just reach out to her. It looks so good, and I am so proud of
Oh,
it. And I've had so many people that we sent it to tell me that it's one of their favorite pitch decks they've ever seen, or that they loved it so much and it really stands out. And so hearing that from people who don't owe me anything to tell me one way or
truly.
another has been really fabulous. And I'm really really excited to move into 2024 with that pitch deck and all the things that we have cooking in the background for
Cooking.
that.
Yeah, no, but I also want to, to piggyback on that too, I also want to commend you because as a pitch deck person, creator myself, it's not very often where I can give, because I'm making the deck and usually I know what notes to give myself. It's usually they're just saying things like, oh, I see the story going this way. Great. Well, we'll make sure the deck meets that. But you were very good at taking like my feedback and just running with it. It was like not even an issue. I think there's something really amazing about that. I think that's something that not a lot of people have.
Yeah. Well, and I learned early that it's always better to go into a situation assuming that you don't know everything.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Especially if the person that you're talking to knows like and knows what they're doing and has been doing this for a really long time. I've always been like that as an actor. I have been like that as a person in the workforce. I will always go in there being like, tell me what to do.
Teach me, learn her,
Right.
get her to the school, or
Yes,
like
get me learned. Because
read me.
because like
Library's open.
certainly I could walk into creating a pitch deck and being like, oh, I know what I'm doing, and put it together. And then we saw what that looked like, and then we had to go back
Yeah, but
and
it
change
wasn't
all
like
the things.
it just wasn't gonna pop like it did. And the fact that I said, hey, this is the issue I have with it. It's so good though. I see where you're going. You know the idea, and I'm sure and also like again, a pitch deck starts one way, but it can end so differently as you come up with more ideas. Oh my God, you were like,
it certainly did.
oh, absolutely. It's turned a great corner and was just like, yes, like camp
Yes,
for the God
it's
in the
so
best
fun.
way.
We love.
In the best
Yes,
way.
yes,
We're
yes,
obsessed.
yes.
So anyway, I just wanted to commend you on that. So I
Thank
think that's
you.
wonderful. I guess the next one for me, this one is not really, it's kind of not chronological, but kind of is. It was around the time right before the strike, because I'll get to the strike. I feel like that was actually
That
like
was
a
a big
good thing,
moment.
but I'll get it. I'll get into that.
Yeah.
Good thing in terms of like what I took from it. Doesn't mean it was a good
Sure.
thing, but it was whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Just like when you talk about your cancer journey, like you never would have been the same person if you hadn't, so it's not like you're saying like
100%.
recommend it, everybody get it,
Right.
but like you're
Everyone
saying
get
like
cancer. It'll change your life for the
I'm
better.
like everyone have to fight for your living wage like for 6
Yay.
months. No, don't do it. Don't do it. I say no, thank you for that. But my other one was the amount I traveled. Do you remember the first half of the year?
Oh my
I was
God, you were
in
never here.
like 9 different states and paid. I mean, it was
Oh
like,
yeah, I kind of
let's get
forgot
her over
about
here.
that.
We
Like
want her in Nashville. We're in
you were everywhere.
everywhere. And my medallion status on Delta just was like, hey, bitch, you want those better seats, bitch? And I was like, yes. And it's my
Yes, give
first
me
year of
that
my
leg
life
room.
getting, right? It's my first year of my life getting like a fabulous medallion status on Delta because I've just been booked and blessed. And I was just like, this is iconic. Like, these are things that I wasn't even like, these weren't actually technically a goal of mine, but it actually was. Cause I was like, once it happened, I was like, oh man, I've been trying to get like the good seats and get on fat more
And here we
quicker.
are.
And here we are. And get paid while I do it. Cause all my miles were from me getting paid. They weren't like trips I had to book and blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. So I think that was really cool. And to loop that in, just so I don't go on a tangent of like 500 travel things, it was also a great year for me to travel and go on vacation with my family. Like we went to the Smoky Mountains and it was beautiful and breathtaking, like a $5 million view from this house that my dad rented on Verbo. Shout out, not a sponsor. But it was just magical. And I think travel is so important. So it was cool to be booked and blessed traveled, but also to be traveled and relaxed while you did it.
With
So
the fam.
that's me. with
Yeah,
the fam. I love a good relaxing vibe, but I also love a good booked and blessed bitch because that's a rich bitch. Anyway,
absolutely. I think my next one is gonna be there's so much to center around Pride weekend for me this year. It was a big
oh
weekend.
my God, I have
Um,
to talk about it too then.
well,
Yeah,
and I
it's
think
amazing.
we're gonna have the same one here, but it was me marching in my first Pride parade. I'd never done that before. In fact, I avoid them most of the time because it's such a chaotic mess. I never go to the
Yeah.
parade. I never go to the events. Like it's one of those things that I quote unquote don't care about in that sense because it's so hard to get
Yeah.
around. It's just like
It's so
blah.
commercially too, right? There's like
Yeah.
you're like, we're here to talk about equality and loving someone. And then you're like, but
And then
also
Budweiser.
$20 shots. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
What's going
But
on? Anyway.
like it was such a great experience. And it and obviously you're gonna jump in on this too, because it was with SAG-AFTRA that I got to march
Yeah.
with you, which was amazing. And thank you for that experience. But it was
Oh
also
yeah.
like seeing the like New Yorkers like on the sidewalks, like in their beautiful little pride outfits, like screaming and cheering and doing all the things and just acting crazy, climbing scaffolding, hanging out of windows. Like it was just a perspective
Yes.
of pride that I'd never seen before. I had such a good time. Like feet were killing me. It was hot as balls, but we had such a
Oh, it was so
great
hot.
time. And I cannot
Yes.
thank you enough for that. And that was absolutely a highlight of my year for sure.
I agree entirely. It was such a vibe too. And I've been in the parade. I've been in a couple parades, but not the Pride parade in a very long time. And I was really excited to do it again this year because it was like way before even COVID is the last time I was able to march with them on that day. And I wasn't booked on anything and it just made sense. That was so much fun. And I think there was something about the fact that we're all with other artists. We're all here to support, people loving who they love. And why is the world so hateful a lot of the times? And there's so much no, no, no. This felt like just a yes week. Everything was just like, it's all good.
It
We're all
was.
here,
It
we're all
was so
human,
good.
right? And coming down the village, and seeing Stonewall and just
That was
like
the
going
best
down,
part.
that turning that corner and just people were like cheering and just like
Yes.
everybody was
There were
living.
two of those moments for me. One, it
Yeah.
was right at the Flatiron,
Yes.
walking down into the high teens in Chelsea, and then turning that corner onto Christopher Street. That like I just was
Christopher. Oh,
living. It was just so good. And like again, a different perspective that I'd never seen before of the Pride Parade. Like the few times that I had gone before, I was like smashed up against a wall in like 30 people deep
right.
crowds, like just get away. And you can't cross the street. You have to go down 25 blocks and come back and cross and come back. It's just terrible. So like, I was so glad to have that as a cap, and then also be with an organization that I care and care about and like.
Yep.
Like it's
Yeah.
just it's so easy, I'm sure, to get onto a float that you're just like, I just want to be on a float and I don't care what it is. And it's like,
Yeah, it's
like
Smirnoff,
Stella
whatever.
Artois, who cares?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was Smirnoff. Oh,
I
high
know,
school
it's so fucking
flashbacks. Oh
gross.
no.
Hate everything about it. Yeah.
Smirnoff
No,
was
but
the
you're
first
right.
alcohol I'd ever had in my life.
Oh my
It
God,
was the
bless
early
you.
aughts. You know how it goes.
No. Mine was definitely worse. It was probably not even Smirnoff level. It was probably like,
A
I'm trying to think, it was
Zima.
like Goldschlag. Ooh, I had
Oh,
Goldschlager when I was really
Goldschlager.
young.
Oh, I had that
And I
too.
thought I was
God,
so bougie. And then when
so
I'm throwing up
bougie.
gold flakes the next day, I'm like,
Right. They're like,
rich.
oh, the gold. They're like, oh, the gold flakes like cut your throat just so the alcohol gets in faster. It's like, oh God, why are we doing this? There's a picture of me
What's wrong with
drunk.
us?
There's a picture of me drunk ass passed out on my friend Rainey's floor, uh, barely in clothes. This was a whole night, and I won't get into it. But it was
That's
the
like tequila night for
Smirnoffs.
me in high school.
It was the not the Smirnoff. It was the Goldschlager's fault.
It always is. The
It
bitch
always
is
is.
toxic. Yeah.
Ugh.
So yes, no. But anyway, Boone's Farm and all that. Anyway, so yeah, it was nice to be like celebrating all week too. And I got to go to a rooftop concert and see Trixie Mattel, which is one of my favorite drag queens. I do think it is though, a homophobic that it's so hot during that month because these drag queens are melting.
They are
Honestly,
melting.
like why
But
is Pride in
listen,
the hottest fucking month? But it's fine. I feel
but
like
listen,
Mother Nature
it's
was a
the
little
balance.
homophobic about it.
It's the balance.
Yeah.
It's the balance. The drag queens are melting, but then all the hotties are like barely clothed. So like
You're
it's a
right. Okay, never mind. What am I doing? Yeah, here I am coming
we have the
in.
push pull of it all.
You're right. You're right. There's a balance. There always is. It's always a give and take. Okay, you're
There
right.
always
Never
is.
mind. It needs to always be in June. The end.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of other things. Like, obviously, I know that there are other things that I'm super happy about and that were highlights of the year. I'm just having a hard time thinking of them outside of these. Like,
I know a few for you. I could go
okay,
on,
all
and
right,
I have
let's
a few
go.
for me.
Let's go.
Well, first off, your job,
Oh my God, my job.
your freaking job,
My
dude.
freaking
Yeah, you're
job. Let's talk about that. I mean, we've talked about this a little bit on the show before, but like it was such a long time coming. I'd been
mhm.
temping at this company on and off for months, and then a position opened and HR reached out to my recruiter and was like, we want him. Because I had made a name for
Love
myself
that.
within
Yes, you
the
have.
company, and I got it, and I was a little surprised I got it, to be honest, because I knew that they were seeing other candidates. And it wasn't until the day before I got the offer that they were like, there's one other person that they're looking at. You're their first choice and whatever. And then I pushed I'm interviewing other places and I will take the first thing that comes my way. And the next day I got the offer. And I was
There you go.
so like I cried. I had a moment. I'm so like grateful to be there. I can't even tell you.
You were really hustling too. There's no one who could say you didn't try
Yeah.
try
Well,
to get a
and
job.
and slightly quasi off subject here, but like within the same vein of people looking for jobs, I certainly have friends that are still looking, who have been looking for longer than I have, or who just recently started.
Fuck.
And I cannot tell you, I cannot stress enough, get a recruiter. They're amazing. They have real jobs that are really looking, that are you're vetted through them, and then the person hiring already has a vetted system down. And then
Right.
also, when you have those recruiters, follow up with them weekly. It doesn't matter if your availability hasn't changed. It doesn't matter if what you want hasn't changed. Send them an email. I scheduled emails every Sunday night to go out Monday morning at 8 o'clock to all 12 or 13 of my recruiters to be like, hey, happy Monday. Just wanted to let you know that I'm still looking for blah, blah, blah. Or I'm working on this day and this day at this place and this day and this day at this place. But anything outside of that, this is what I'm prioritizing. Like, and I just would write them a little paragraph and be like, have a great week. And then if something would change about the following week or that week in the middle of the week, I'd email them again and let them know, like, here's the
Mhm.
update. And that is how I was able to be on the top of all of their lists for everything. And I was getting offers to do like short little extent, like moments here
You
and there
were.
constantly because I was
You were
on
putting in the
top of them.
FaceTime.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what I think
Anyway.
ultimately got you the job, because you were putting yourself out there, and you were, well, of course it is. And you were, temporarily working for some of these places, and then they were like, shit, we love him. Why
Yeah.
have we not hired him?
And
Yeah. So
also
I mean, it makes
within the company, the people that I was working with, I would let them know that I was up for this position, and they, with the culture of that company, for whatever reason, were like, I'm going to send an email on your
oh my God,
behalf.
yes.
And it was really leveraging the network internally that got me that position as well. And I love them. It has been a joy so far. It's been super easy,
Wonderful.
much to my surprise, and I love them, and I cannot express enough how grateful I am for that. So yes, thank you for reminding me of that. I can't believe I almost
Yeah. I was like, that's like the fucking
hello job.
hello job. Hi job. So yeah, and I was gonna say, for me, obviously the strike of it all.
Yes.
I've never in my life been part of such like an activist part. I have been an activist before, but nothing to the level where I was a leader, absolutely a leader in this movement, and fighting back and then winning.
Yeah.
It really was so fucking unbelievable that it was 6 months, and it was so many days of my life, like marching, chanting. I know we've talked about this, but like it was a really huge growth thing for me, because it activated the activation happened in my brain to the point where I was just like, yeah, this is so important. This does impact me, but also impacts everybody, not only in this
Everybody.
industry, but in the literal like labor world. It really made a difference this summer, us being on strike and then winning. Um, it really got me a lot of I don't know, it really built me as a person. I really think it's very important that instead of letting it destroy me, I've in fact looked at it as an opportunity to get what we need and fight for what is right, and use every inch of my self and uh social media and all these like networks I've created and I'm a part of now. And it just means a lot to me that people, not just me, but like people were really activated for this. It just felt very unifying. And and now that we're coming up to the ratification of the contract, which hopefully will be ratified, I think it will. I really do.
Yeah.
It has to. It's just so dumb if it isn't. And historically. So once that's done, I'll be done that chapter. And I think it's really fun to look at where I was and where I am now. And honestly, dude, it was just so great to show up for the union and then to be featured so much, to be given so many opportunities, but also like just my friends in the industry and everything. We're all watching. Everybody has been like, Sarah, I saw you there like all the time. And it really made me feel better because I know you and I know you would never, like, you're in because you feel this way about it. And I trust that it's what needs to be done because you're there and it makes me feel,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a really cool growth and leadership that I can only go forward with. So
Great.
it was hard. It
Yeah.
was very hard, but the reason I'm bringing it up as a good thing is only because I feel like because we won, it really changed the world. So it's going to change the world
For
as
sure.
it has done.
Yeah. I think my next one is a more recent one. Literally this weekend, I went to Dances with Films to see my friend Anthea in her movie Cheryl, that she and her husband wrote and produced together. They did a whole crowdfund thing that I was a part of. And I mean, I contributed in that. That's what I meant by part of. And it was so
That's
great.
part of.
She was the best thing on screen. She was so solid. I was so proud of her. They did a little talk back afterwards about the process of putting it together, and her husband wrote the screenplay and the music, and she had a song on there that was like amazing. Like I'm so impressed with her, and I'm so grateful for her. And I had an insane night with Bierkley, who is a Tony winning or nominated actress on Broadway, original chorus line member of the Broadway company back in the 70s.
Fun.
She's the short Asian woman in the Turkey Lurkey video that everyone watches every Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
She's a legend and happened to be there because she knew Anthea. And so me and my friend David ended up spending the entire night with her. She lives in the neighborhood. We shared a neighbor home. Like, it was just a magical evening. And it made me want to do more, which was one of the things that we were talking about beforehand, of just going to more events like that. And just because I had such a good time and I want more of that in my life.
Yes.
So that's
be surrounded by that.
Yes, it was such a good thing. It was such a good thing. And it was such a moment where I was like, I need to go to more of these. I love this. It was great.
That's true because of like, just piggyback on that, it's like me speaking at certain festivals became a thing this year. And that was so, because it's like you're being part of it and also like adding to it and also like meeting people and also like I missed that. And it's so weird because we're so zoomed now. I know we're doing this on Zoom, so I'm a hypocrite right now. But she had a long night.
There's something to that. There's something to that too.
Great things
but I know
there.
what you mean. Yeah.
Like it's the physicality of it all, to be right in the room with everybody is so unifying. But yeah, I agree. That's something to do. And I'm so glad that we have some great stuff planned. And also like in our own lives, like, not just in our world, but like beyond, going to more things and doing more things. I think that's going to be fabulous. So yeah,
that's going to be my 2024
I'll tell you what my next
wish.
one is.
I better know what it is.
My next one is making this podcast.
That was my next one too, but I was hoping that you were going to say your engagement.
No, I'm gonna do that. I know I was gonna do that last. That has to be the finale. That just happened.
Of course. Well, this was going to be my finale because what I was going to say is
we'll talk about the podcast, then we'll talk about my finale.
Yes. So from my perspective, I am also grateful for this podcast because not that we weren't friends before, but it really put us together on the map together. And I love that, and I love you, and I love doing this, and I think this is so much fun in so many ways for me. And then also just to become like part of your friend circle and you part of mine. It's just been a highlight, and I don't know what I would do without you. I
am so, as Mike would say, his work in alignment with what you just said. That's corporate stuff, guys. I don't know any of it because she's not a
circle
girl,
back. We'll circle back to that alignment.
We'll circle back to that alignment, and we'll TB at the end of this week. Anyway, see you on Slack or whatever. But yes, I really feel like this was such a wonderful thing that we did. Whatever it was going to be, it was just such a great, I knew it was going to be a bop because it's us, but you're right. It has really like, not only has it gotten us closer, but also like we already were pretty damn close, but it's gotten us even more closer. And we've
Yeah.
talked about so many things here, but I also think there's been a lot of people who have resonated with what we're saying. And also we have used it as a tool during specific times, whether it was the strike, the contract, what's going on in the world. I just felt like, I don't know. I just feel like it's so the time to do it. And I'm glad we did. And I like how we did it. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited for season 2 and all the things we're going to add and do. And
I can't
I love
wait
that
for
we were,
season 2.
I love that we had some monetization options, even though we really need to work on that. But also
We'll get there. We'll
I
get
love
there.
that.
That's
We'll get
part
there.
of season
Sorry,
2.
we did have, yeah, we literally have been monetized, but we haven't really
We're not really
pulled
doing
the
it.
trigger
It's
on it.
fine.
But
We'll do
anyway,
it.
it's fine, but it's there. But also that we got on all these platforms very quickly, and that I know a lot of people listened and shared, especially the ones that had to do with SAG-AFTRA stuff. Honestly, was really important, I think, because there was a lot of misinformation currently. But even just like during the strike, it was nice to talk about my experience currently, and then also what's being printed. Like no famous people are the pickets. What's up with that? I'm like, I just had like seen Sarah Paulson and like talked to her, and I was like, okay, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Pretty trash. So I just think this has been so wonderful. And again, my main exciting thing about it is where we're going to go with it.
Yes.
Because
And
sky's the limit.
as you were saying this, I completely forgot about another good thing that happened that we were both present for that I should have brought up before we kick off with your finale. When we went to go see Darren Hayes live at Town Hall in New York. That was such a good night. What a boo-boo. And let me tell you, that concert was wonderful. Darren Hayes, former Savage Garden lead singer. We got to meet
basically
him.
Savage Garden.
We got to meet him. Our photo with him is lost somewhere. I don't know what happened to it.
Yep, don't worry, I'm sure it is.
Don't know where that is. But he has had quite a year. He finished that tour, went back to Australia, and he was just on The Masked Singer in Australia.
I saw that.
And I think he won or something. I don't know. I need to do a better deep dive. But
I don't even know what Masked Singer really is. So I know that they sang and they're masks on. I don't know how you win.
It's fine. I don't either. But like, it was so
but
nice.
I'd watch his.
Totally. It was so lovely to meet a childhood icon and
my God, yes.
have a conversation with him and interact with him and then see him live and do his thing. And it was just so wonderful. And that we got to share in that experience together is just icing.
Yeah. Yes, because honestly, it was such a vibe. I cried when he did Two Beds and a Coffee Machine because that was really even when I was little, that was so hard to listen to, but it's so beautiful. And it hit me again. I was like, it was just so good. He is gifted. Love him.
And also
he loved us. So
now he loved us. He loved us. And I hope he comes back to New York and makes good on his promise of going for coffee with us at some point. Calling you out, Darren.
Yeah. Hi, Darren.
But that also kind of like, and I don't want to push your finale out any further, but like I also went. This year has been so long. It feels like 5 years. I'm so tired.
It has. It's been like 20 years. So I'm exhausted.
Truly. I went to my 2 opening nights on Broadway, which I've never done before in the 18 years that I've lived in New York. I've never been to an opening night. I got to go to the opening night of Sweeney Todd and Shucked, and I also went to the Tony Awards, which is another thing that I've never done. The TTs. That is another thing that I have never been able to do. And 2 of the Shucked opening night and Tony Awards were because of my friend Catherine, who is such a badass. Follow her. It's Catherine Quinn on all platforms. She is a social media marketing brilliant genius person on TikTok in the theater industry. And
I need to learn from her.
And well, that's something we're going to talk about for the new year as well. But then I also went and saw Sweeney Todd, which was with Josh Groban and Annalee Ashford, and that was amazing.
That's fucking awesome.
So many firsts.
I loved everything.
I completely
and I was
about those. What am I even talking about?
I was a groomswoman twice this year.
Twice,
so that's two male friends getting married, and I have to say both were incredible, but it was really nice in the second wedding to wear a full-on custom suit.
I loved that. You looked
I've
amazing.
never gotten that ability. I've always like, why am I always like, I'm sometimes because I have so many male friends, and female friends too. But it's like I feel like I'm like if I've been in so many weddings, but I feel like when I have the opportunity to be a groomswoman, I'm always like, give me the option. Come on now, give
Right.
me that option to
Give me
be
that
like a
pantsuit.
groomswoman. Yeah,
Yeah.
give me that realness. But it made sense for the first one because I was actually on the bride's side, but I was in the part, it was
Yeah.
because of Drew, who I love immensely, Drew Sigla.
Love.
Such a
Love,
beautiful
love,
wedding, one of the
love.
most beautiful weddings I've ever been to in my life. But that it was just so much fun. So anyway, yeah, it's like that was fun, just like showing up for friends, like you're talking about, like some of the stuff you're doing, like the Broadway things with friends, and it's like these weddings were super a bop for me. Sometimes weddings aren't a bop, like at all.
Yeah.
But this one was no pass, hard pass. Sometimes they really are terrible, but these two were
I've
amazing.
been very fortunate. I've not been to a wedding that was not amazing.
Oh,
Um,
I'm lucky. I've been
so
to too many.
knock on wood that continues.
I've been to too many. I've been to ones where the dancing wasn't allowed. Like I've
What?
literally been to
Get the
one.
fuck out.
I don't want to get into it. Southern
No.
bullshit. Anyway, fine.
But what a beautiful, perfect segue. Speaking of weddings, Sarah Seeds, and your finale of the year. Look at that. Listener, she is
Look at
showing
that
off the rock that she got. It is so nice.
I'm so happy.
Bravo to Mike on
I
the
never,
ring selection.
I know he
Just
fucking
gorge.
killed it. Well, there's a lot of story behind this
Oh
ring.
yeah,
I mean,
no,
I
I
don't know if you know
remember.
all the.
Oh yeah, he told
It's
us.
so crazy. Yeah. So his grandfather, his papu, was in Greece, and there was Nazi occupation coming on in, and he was like anti-fascist. He was like, fuck the Nazis, whatever. And so he was a young guy,
As one
and what he
should
did is he
be.
hunt. Yep, and he was a young guy. Yeah, obviously, duh. And he went up into the woods, and when the Nazis weren't like invading, he shot a bunch of them from the woods. And he was like, fuck Nazis, because they were trying to invade and they were dragging people out, and it was really scary. So what happened was some dumb kid or something like told on him or something like that. They were like in the woods somewhere, something happening. I don't know how accurate it is this, but I don't know if it was a kid or like an adult, but somebody told.
Someone, yeah.
So he was like, I'm freaked out, so I have to leave. And because his parents loved America so much, they made them dual citizens. So he jumped on a boat to Ellis Island to go to America. He was just like, fuck it, the Nazis are after me, I'm jumping on a boat. Like that was that era where you could just
That's
jump on a boat and
crazy.
escape.
Yeah.
It's like now it'd be like, geotag, where's her cell phone, just find her, like,
Right.
it's like, yeah, where'd she put a selfie, where's she at? But he was just like, mm-mm. So he jumped on that boat, and on that boat he met Mike's grandmother, and super funny because she was like, I don't date older guys. Like she was a fab bitch. And he was like, oh, I'm blank. And he was like 3 years older than he said. So he was like, I'm not that old. No, I'm great. You'll love me. And so but then of course that came out. But they had this like real big thing happening on this boat. She had like a fiance back in Greece and stuff, but she was like, oh, hell to the no. Or like there was a guy she was dating, somebody like lame.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like, oh my God, this is what it's like. Oh, bye. So they just connected, and their marriage is one of the most wonderful ones I've ever seen. It's like, we look at your parents and my parents and they're still together. There's not a lot of people like that. These were like those kinds of peeps where it was like forever and ever, and like really good marriage, like really dope marriage. So anyway, they got into New York, and what I love about this ring is it was created in the Diamond District in this city in the in the 50s. So it's that mid-century Art Deco,
It's beautiful
vibe, and it's so special. It's nothing like I've ever seen. It is so stunning. It's so
really
thoughtful.
is.
But to be honest, I have a bone to pick with you because you knew this was happening. I had no freaking idea. And all those, so if when you guys listen, son of a bitch. And if you listen to all those episodes you guys have heard already, and then there's another one coming up after this one, I believe, or I'm not sure. That we recorded that day. You recorded 3 episodes of the damn podcast, and I had no freaking idea.
Yeah, didn't say
you were handling me. You were my handler. You Chelsea handlered me. Oh
let it be known that Edward Miskey can keep a secret and execute a plan.
And this is why, like, I believe in you. I believe way more like your ability to do that. I already knew that, but now I'm like, wow, this is the one.
She's calculated.
McGee.
She's sneaky and
She's
calculated.
got locked down Pandora's box. But yeah, what kills me is like, he's been planning this for like since the summer of this year, actually, but it never, because of the strike and because of everything, I was so wrapped up in it, or I booked something, go out of town, or sorry, I'm a book gal. It was like, he was like, God damn it, she booked nothing, but it's great. But also,
Ah,
but he was talking to everyone, and it's so funny because that day we did our podcast. Thank God we got dressed up and went to somewhere
oh
bougie.
my
I
God,
would be
yes.
so mad if all this photos were me in some like fucking sweatshirt or
Sweatsuit.
something. Not that I really look at me right now. Like I'm
I mean,
hungover, but I'm
right,
just like shoulder.
I love it.
No makeup though.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we went to On the Bonifant. It's the new restaurant in
Yeah, it used to be
Fort Tryon
the New
Park.
Leaf. It used to be the New Leaf that closed during Pandyland, and now it is reopened
Candyland,
as
yeah.
the Bonifant. Not sponsored, but it was
Not sponsored, but
lovely.
it should be. Yeah, we had some good cocktails and food was
We
great.
sure did. The food was great. I still want to go back and get that bread. I had that tarragon chicken sandwich, which was so good, but the bread on that sandwich was sick.
Fuck, the bread was
I know.
ridiculous.
I still haven't put that
And
TikTok up. I need to put that TikTok up.
you do, and it will happen. But
It'll happen.
I still need to do a post on my engagement because I'm just enjoying myself. I like have all this stuff. Anyway, so we do that, and then we're eating, having cocktails, and then Mike's like, I'm gonna swing by, and then I want to, I have something fun planned because it was our anniversary. So I was like, oh yeah, that seems normal. Nothing's crazy. Little did I know that when I was texting him and I was like, we were done recording, he was down the block with his mom and brother with the catered food put in our apartment and with all this thing because he didn't want to cross paths with us as we left.
Yeah.
So I had no idea. He made a call sheet. It was very,
Made a
this
call sheet.
producery. It was
I
amazing.
texted him when we left. I was like, we're walking out the door.
Oh my God. It's like you're my talent wrangler. Like you're like, she's here.
Kind of, she's on her way.
Walking down. She's on her way. So
Yeah.
like I am such a dum-dum that like I just love all my friends.
No,
and
you're not a
everybody.
dum-dum.
So I'm just
We're
like,
just that good at it.
yeah, you're okay, good. See, you're just yeah. And we have a great relationship. So I'm not always like, what are you planning? You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
never like,
Yeah.
so I also say that too, because like people are like, how did you not know he was going to do this that day and blah blah. You're so like aware, and I'm like, well, I also have a really great relationship, so I don't really think like him being nice means something other than
Right. And
he's
it
just
shouldn't.
being nice.
It's just,
you know what I
why are
mean?
you dating
Like
people that's an occasion?
that's what I mean. Like,
Like,
so he was like, yeah, let's go. Okay, so once we parted ways, and you had your little story about where you were going, except you were coming right back to my apartment to help
I was coming
set up on
right
the
back
roof
to your
and all of
apartment
it.
to help
Right back to
everyone.
help everyone. All you and 15 other people just like set up everything. Anyway, so we just got a drink at the bar that was our first date. It's a pub like across the street, Tryon Public House, and we just sat there and we had some drinks, and it was like reminiscing about our relationship, and it was really nice. And then he goes, before we do anything else, before we go on our next thing, I had something planned like for dinner, some fun thing. He's like, let's go back to the apartment. I just want to show you something on the roof because there's this new building that just went up. We haven't really seen it from our roof, and let's manifest that we'll move into that gorgeous new building we've been talking about. And so I'm like, that's great.
What a great idea.
What a great idea.
Let's manifest a new build.
Yeah, a new build. So then we get up to the roof almost, and he's like, you need to cover your eyes because it's so beautiful. I want to take you to the perfect spot. And I'm like, great. So I'm like, fucking okay.
Okay, no problem.
And so then I get there, and it was like, wait a minute. My hands went away, and I saw all the lanterns and the beauty on the
Oh my
roof.
God, there
and
were
I'm like,
80 paper lanterns.
80.
I think there were
shit.
80
Yeah,
of them. And then Christmas lights, all the white lights. It was so pretty.
Oh, it was Gorgina. We have photos, and I'll post a thing. By the time this goes up, there'll be a whole post. But I also didn't know that Mike's brother, who's also a filmmaker, had filmed the entire thing high res on his hidden tripod, so it's recorded well. And there was a photographer on site, friend Dorian. Okay, good. Thank you for that job. Thank you. See, everyone had a job. This is why it's good to have like people in the industry or friends, because everyone fucking knew what to do. Lindsay was producing essentially.
Yeah, I was like, let's hide the tripod over here, and I'll press it when Mike gives us the signal. And it's like...
You guys are so bad. I love
so
it.
Funny.
And
it was such a good time.
I know you guys are the best, because then when so like I pull my hands away, and I'm like, wait a minute, then things are like obviously clicking. I'm like, wait a minute, this is crazy.
This is
wait,
sus.
whoa. And
what's
then
happening?
And he's saying to me like, yeah, sus. I'm like, sus. No, he was just like saying really sweet things, and just like and then when he went to get his hand in his coat, I knew he was gonna pull out it just like it all like obviously because I'm not an idiot. There's like lamps everywhere, and he was gonna get As soon as he went in there, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh
You
my God.
were
Because I was like,
yelling.
"Ah."
It was so funny because we were all hidden behind the wall thing at the on the
Yeah,
roof.
I had no idea you motherfuckers were all there. So
We
then
were
I'm like,
there,
oh my God,
and
oh
I
my God.
heard her be like, "Oh my God, are you kidding?"
And what I love is that I said, yes. And he's like, are you sure? Like, what, why did he ask
Oh my
that? But
God,
it's
I
just
know. He was
because
like,
like
"Are you
we're so
sure?"
emotional. And I'm like, of course.
Well, and I said
then
that to him before too. I was like, "Well, at least we know what she's gonna say, so that takes the pressure off of
yes.
that. Like now, let's focus on what we need to do."
Yeah. And we all knew that, are you good with that? Because you're just like, adrenaline's like, and then he yelled, she said yes. And then it was like a barrage of like some of
Of
my, like pretty
friends,
much my favorite people just running out from behind all areas of the roof. I was so
it was so
overwhelmed and
good.
shocked.
Yeah,
It was so fucking good.
it
And
was
then we
good.
just partied.
Yeah,
For a
yeah.
while.
It was
I was
yeah
so
with the
drunk. It was
food.
amazing.
Oh my God, I
The
was not because
food.
I went off to go see a show afterwards.
Yeah.
Lindsay took me downtown and I went and saw a show, but it was, oh my God, it was so fun. It was such a pleasure to do, and it was so hysterical to like see your reaction. It was very sweet. I loved
I
it.
know. It was so genuine, right? Because you know me, I'm not usually
Yeah.
like, oh my God, really? Like I just was completely
Yeah,
like,
just like blurry and crying and like everything.
yep, yeah. I
You're like,
was
"I
a
don't usually
mess.
cry, but blah, blah," and then we had like your family on Zoom and everything. It was so good.
Oh, that's right. And then my beautiful fam was on a an
An iPad.
iPad,
Yeah.
and so cute all together in the back
What a way
porch.
to
My
end the
dad, my mom, my
year.
bro. Yeah, and that's the finale. So, and we're really excited because I'm really going to be ending the year as a fiancée woman, a fiance, but also I'm heading to Egypt, Jordan, and then Greece.
Hmm. I'm
So I'm
so
very
jealous.
excited.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous.
Dude, we got our tickets back from Greece. We got Emirates tickets. It's going to be
Oh,
so bougie.
yes.
Anyway,
Emirates is high quality.
that's how we're getting back. It was actually the
So
best deal,
jelly.
which made no sense. And it was a nonstop from Athens to New York. So anyway,
Perfect.
what a way to end it. And with some
What a way to
freaking,
end it. And listen,
yeah.
y'all, don't forget about us. We will still be on the interweb
Mhm.
space. Follow us. Be sure to do all the things. And
Yeah.
season 2 will be coming your way real hot. And it's
Real
going to be
hot.
real
Super hot.
slick. And I'm so excited about it because also the things that we have been talking about here are really just a giant snowball into next year. And the things that
Yep.
are coming our way and subsequently coming your way. Oh, I'm so excited.
Huh?
Can't talk
How
about them
dare
just
you,
yet,
huh?
but
NDA has been signed. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously,
it's
no,
kind of like our
can't talk.
NDA. It's kind of like our NDA social contract with each other.
Yeah, or like, don't say
Don't
anything.
say anything.
No, don't say fucking anything. But yeah, I'm so happy to end this year out with you. We have still so many fun things to do off pod. We have to have our birthday and so many the holiday realness of New
Oh
York
my
is
God,
going
I
to be
can't
so
wait.
iconic. So
I truly love New
yeah,
York in the holidays, and I can't wait to get through it.
I
It's going to be
love it.
wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
y'all, this has
Thanks
been
guys for
season
listening.
1. Season 1 of I Want to Be a Rich Bitch.
Season
Thanks
1.
for coming along. Can't
Mhm.
wait to see you in the new year.
Thank you. Now
And
put the money on the table.
that's what I was waiting for.
You're so rich.
Payment.